iFour Technolab Private Limited, an ISO 9001-2015 certified and leading sustainable IT service provider. Presents tutorial of smart contract using Solidity. The purpose of this course is to give you complete understanding and hands-on experience with smart contracting using Solidity for blockchain technology. In Chapter 2, Ethereum Essential covers an overview of Ethereum and demystifies various Ethereum jargons. We are going to discuss the following topics: Ethereum Introduction, wallets, transactions, tokens, types of token, what is smart contract, dApps and test network, Parity. Decentralized blockchain platform. A blockchain is a public decentralized ledger that securely records transactions between parties anonymously, thus cutting out the middleman. The word block refers to the way data is stored on blocks. Any transaction is broadcasted to all the nodes on the blockchain, which have to verify the transaction. Ether cryptocurrency used on this platform. Ethereum also introduced its digital currency, called Ether. Ether is a token whose blockchain is generated by the Ethereum platform. Ether is largely known today as a cryptocurrency or a token. This is important because whenever developers execute a smart contract, or transact using the Ethereum blockchain, they must include enough gas, aka Ether, to run the program. In other words, Ether is what you pay when your program code on Ethereum. Ethereum used for virtually any kind of transaction or agreement. While Bitcoin transactions are multi-signature transactions that only execute when two parties or more consent to it. Ethereum, on the other hand, allows anyone to run programs and applications on top of it. Developers can run decentralized code and create new products or even a new cryptocurrency on top of Ethereum. Decentralized, trustless, secure, safe, live and censorship-resistant. The power of the blockchain technology is immutable, irreversible, and decentralized, and was so revolutionary that other competitors decided to create their blockchain technology and introduce new blockchains with different functions beyond the first version with Bitcoin. Ethereum uses peer-to-peer computer networks. However, that contract data sits on-chain with Ethereum, meaning that the program is stored in the Ethereum blockchain itself, rather than just pointing to code that is sitting somewhere else. Introduction continued. Ethereum is software running on a network of computers. With smart contract executions, every program executed on the blockchain is by a signed program, and no third party or middleman is needed. Smart contract executions on the blockchain remove third parties and middlemen. So that makes it trustless, which makes it even more trusted. Contracts are replicated and processed on all computers. Having said that, there are no fully functioning blockchains to date that can offer real decentralized apps and run faster than Ethereum. Some blockchains may compete with Ethereum like Neo and Stellar, and other post-blockchain protocols like Hashgraph and DAG that offer faster transactions per second. But to my knowledge, they may not have much on-chain smart contract usability. Process without a central coordinator. Ethereum calculates every single transaction on any dApp. The more transactions that run on the blockchain will eventually slow it down, and prevent it from scaling. That's exactly what we're seeing play out now. Ethereum is used for distributed data storage plus computing. Every node in the blockchain stores the same data. Because anybody can build applications and products on top of the Ethereum blockchain. Its strongest value proposition: their contracts can either utilize Ether as a currency or they create and issue their currency. Ethereum contracts run on Ethereum virtual machine operating system. Anyone can build a program on top of Ethereum. It is great for democratizing access to the blockchain, but the downside is that each new node will continue to work longer and longer, which affects the speed of the software. This makes it difficult to scale. A wallet is used to hold the tokens. One can register the Ethereum wallet on myotherwallet.com, and check the funds on etherscan.io. After successful registration, public and private keys can be availed. A public key is a unique address used to identify a user, and is visible to everyone in the network. While a private key is used to sign each transaction being sent to the network. It is necessary to keep the private key safe as it can be used when the user forgets the password of the wallet. There are several wallet providers in the market, and few of them are integrated with the web browser. So it is recommended to use MetaMask and Trezor Ledger hardware wallets. Ethereum wallet can hold various tokens, including Ether, Mana, Land, and others. Transactions. To understand how transactions are made in blockchain, we first need to understand networks and nodes. So the network is a group of computers that allow communication with each other. Each computer in the network is called a node. Now let's take an example that node A wants to send some money to node B. So with the help of smart contracts or blockchain network, a block is generated. Block is something that contains the transaction's details. The transaction initiated by node A has been added to the block, but this block is not currently the part of the blockchain. To add the block to the chain, the transaction needs to be validated by other nodes present in the network. The nodes that help to validate the transaction are known as miners. The block is broadcasted to every node in the network, so that they can validate the transaction in the block. To mine a block, the miners need to solve an algorithm, and this process of validating the transactions is known as mining. Whosoever does the mining first is being rewarded with a mining fee known as gas, which is spent by the sender. The transaction with higher gas has more chances to be validated in a short amount of time. Now, why do we need miners to validate the transactions, increasing the cost? Because there might not be enough balance in node A's account to transfer. We need somebody to monitor the transactions as blockchain has no central party to regulate. After validation, the block is added to the chain and finally, B gets the money. This is how the transactions process in the blockchain. Ethereum smart contract that represents digital assets called Ethereum tokens. Ethereum is a platform that can be used to create any arbitrary smart contract, including smart contracts that represent digital assets called Ethereum tokens. This is similar to the App Store providing a platform for iOS apps, with some apps issuing their digital currencies that are used within the game or system. However, with Ethereum, there is no centralized entity like Apple that controls what gets added to the App Store. Anyone can create a token on top of Ethereum. Ethereum tokens can represent anything from a physical object like gold, digits, to a native currency used to pay transaction fees, golem. In the future, tokens may even be used to represent financial instruments like stocks and bonds. The properties and functions of each token are entirely subject to its intended use. Tokens can have a fixed supply, constant inflation rate, or even a supply determined by a sophisticated monetary policy. Tokens can be used for a variety of purposes, such as paying to access a network, or for decentralized governance over an organization. Tokens are often issued to the public through a crowd sale called an initial coin offering, (ICO). The creators of the token will issue the token to others in exchange for Ether, and sometimes Bitcoin, and other digital currencies. There have been many ICOs recently, and in a short time, they have completely changed the way projects are funded. There is no requirement that tokens must be well distributed. Although, if you're building a decentralized application, ideally, you want the tokens to be owned by as many people as possible. Fungible tokens. For cryptocurrencies, fungible tokens work fine. In reality, fungibility is the key characteristic of any currency. However, if we take the fungibility out of tokens, and think about non-fungible tokens, there will be a range of fresh possibilities to use blockchain technology. Cryptocurrency tokens such as Bitcoin, Ethereum and Mana are all fungible, because it is possible to exchange one token unit for any other token unit. Cryptocurrency tokens such as Bitcoin, Ethereum and Mana are all fungible, because it is possible to exchange one token unit for any other token unit. You can also create custom fungible tokens for use in decentral and scenes, and use them to depict items that are all the same, and do not have any distinctive or customizable properties between them. For instance, you could develop a game about gathering a big amount of identical items, and representing them through a fungible token. You can also use a fungible token to depict a golden ticket, that provides access to a particular region or service to customers who hold it. Non-fungible tokens. Much of the moment, fungible tokens are constructed using an ERC-20 standard. For simplicity's sake, let's imagine that each of these tokens is a bill of $10. If you sent someone a token, and a week later you received another one, they'd be the same. All of this modification with non-fungible tokens, many of which comply with ERC 721. These can be contrasted with baseball cards because they have different information and different levels of rarity. You might be very upset if you accidentally gave someone one of these tokens, and got another ERC 721 token back. You need to bear in mind one more important distinction. Fungible tokens are divisible, which means you can send a fraction of one token from the ERC-20. Inconsistent ERC 721 tokens, on the other hand, cannot be split and must be purchased or sold whole. Contracts. What is smart contract? Smart contracts are self-executing contracts, with the terms of the contract between buyer and seller directly written into lines of code. Transactions in a code. Smart contracts permit trusted transactions and agreements to be carried out among disparate, anonymous parties, without the need for a central authority, legal system, or external enforcement mechanism. Solidity is known as a contract-based, high-level programming language for writing smart contracts. It was influenced by C++, Python, and JavaScript, and is designed to target the Ethereum virtual machine. This typed programming languages will help and do the checking at runtime as opposed to compile time. This platform also supports inheritance in object-oriented programming. Inheritance enables new objects to take on the properties of existing objects. A class that is used as the basis for inheritance is called a superclass or base class. A class that inherits from a superclass is called a subclass or derived class. Why Solidity? It is used for implementing smart contracts on various blockchain platforms. To produce EVM bytecode for the distributed application to communicate with EVM and nodes. Why smart contract? Smart contracts allow the performance of credible transactions without third parties. An automated way of executing a transaction, eliminating middlemen, speed, secure, efficiency, etc. Test network, Parity. What is dApp? A decentralized application, dApp, is a computer application that runs on a distributed computing system. dApps have been mostly popularized by distributed ledger technologies (DLT), namely the Ethereum blockchain, where dApps are often referred to as smart contracts. Features of dApps. dApps may run on top of distributed computing systems such as Ethereum or Bitcoin. Decentralized applications are stored on and executed by a blockchain system. Open source. Ideally, it should be governed by autonomy, and all changes must be decided by the consensus, or a majority, of its users. Its codebase should be available for scrutiny. Decentralized. All records of the application's operation must be stored on a public and decentralized blockchain to avoid the pitfalls of centralization. Incentivized. Validators of the blockchain should be incentivized by rewarding them accordingly with cryptographic tokens. Protocol. The application community must agree on a cryptographic algorithm to show proof of value. For example, Bitcoin uses proof of work, and Ethereum is currently using proof of work with plans for a hybrid proof of work, proof of stake 5 in the future. That's it in this video. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for our next video.